A big deep kick, and Paul Sculthorpe runs the ball back. First tackle on him by Trista and Graham, with big Danny Lee coming in there quickly too. A massive test this for this Warrington side. They've got to lift their game. They've got to play as well as they have all season, but that is a high tackle picked out by the referee, Jason Stevens.
Big prop forward didn't miss either. Well, we saw on Friday night at St Helens when Auckland really did take it to the Saints, and it appears that the Cronulla Sharks are going to do exactly that. Well spotted by the referee, Russell Smith. They mean business, the Australian side. They want victory. They really want to rub salt in the wounds of the British boys. It's all about pride for Warrington tonight.
Indeed so. That is Gary Chambers. They're glad that he's back in the side. This now is Tony Tatupu, who has experienced the game in Australia. There's John Lang, Cronulla coach, watching on from the stand on the far side. Bria spreads the play to Shelford. Shelford taking on Nicow. Nicow, though, bringing him to ground. Good quick play the ball by Warrington. They're certainly beginning with a lot more intensity than we've seen them in Super League in Europe recently. Brias again. That's Finau. Finau, though, is clattered by two tacklers. Graham was in there quickly, so too Chris McKenna. Here now is Shelford. Lovely little chip over the top from Shelford, and it bounces kindly for him. He gets the ball away, or he tries to, but he hits the chest of Ettingshausen, and E.T. first touch of the football for the Sharks.
Well, they had the opportunity there, and you could see that E.T. had put himself in the middle there. And perhaps they would have been better served to have just gone down, held on to possession.
Let's take a look at the way these two sides have gone over the last 5, and Warrington have lost them all. They've only scored 14 tries, and you can see where their problem lies. It's in defence. 34 tries conceded. Now, Cronulla's last 5, won 3, lost 2, and you see the difference in the culture, really, between the games north and south of the equator. Such a tighter game in Australia than it is up here in Europe. Defence always holds the key for Australian teams. That's Paul Green who gets the kick in. It's not a terribly convincing kick, and Lee Penny will try and run the ball out, but it's a good chase led by Ettingshausen, and Nick Graham in there very quickly too.
Good work by the hooker, Willie Swan, normally the halfback playing in the rakes position today. He really applied the pressure there. It'll be interesting to see how he takes that position. Up to now, he's doing very well. A couple of good runs from the dummy half already.
Here's Gary Chambers. He gets the ball away to John Roper. Roper, a 1996 British Lions tourist, but 3 there to meet him. Healy, Barnett, and also Richardson.
Such a big centre is Russell Richardson. Number 33 really is massive.
Sculthorpe, true superstar, but well picked out by Tawera Nicow on the last tackle. And this is Brias. Nice little jink from Brias. Good kick too. It bounces kindly, but Peachy, the fullback, David Peachy, for Cronulla Sharks, just tosses the ball then inside. And this now is Barnett. Here now Rogers, Matt Rogers, son of the legendary Steve Rogers.
Good kick and chase though by Warrington. Got plenty of effort on it, but offside
against Warrington.
A little bit too eager there. Well, that's something that they have failed to show in the past few weeks, Warrington. Eagerness to move up, but just a little bit too much on that occasion. Kelly Shelford, he's got all the experience, many international clashes.
And Paul Hume is down injured, the Warrington captain. And they look a little anxious about Hume, and so they should be, because he is the man who really does drive this Warrington side forward. A World Club Challenge winner in 1989, and a try versus Canberra Old Trafford for witness. This is the injury, and he caught a stray boot, Steve-O. Matt Rogers, totally accidental.
He doesn't look well, and when a man like Paul Hume has to leave the field, I can assure you it must be a pretty horrific injury. He's as tough as teak.
He is. It looks like it's a blood bin, though. There's blood pouring from his eye there.
A couple of stitches, and I can assure you that Paul Hume will be back on the field as quick as possible.
And it's Sean Garaitis who comes on to replace Paul Hume, one of the young breed, only 19. Garaitis off the bench, and a try against Leeds last week. So Treaster will restart, and that's a drive in there from Stevens again. Eager tackling though from this Warrington side early on.
Cronulla using the forwards, keeping it very tight at the moment. They'll obviously use the quick link out wide, and they've done that already.
And here it is. This is Russell Richardson, but that's good defence and a swinging arm, I think, seen by Russell Smith.
Forced that it was. He didn't miss either. It was all so clear. What he said, but I can assure you that Russell Smith won't miss this one. There's a big centre, Richardson, and he connected, did Forster. Centre got one in his face from Vagana to start with, and then this is it. Crack. Well, that stupid play takes away any chance of regaining momentum. Adds another bout of pressure for them.
Yes, this now is Green. He gives it to Healy, and he looks for the runner, and he's arrived as Peachy, and there's the first Cronulla try. And the European teams have got to learn that you cannot concede penalties inside the red zone to these Australasian teams, because when they do, they are absolutely lethal. Peachy with the try.
Good combination. They did the simple link, 2 dummy runners. There's the first one. Watch for the second one. There he goes. Out wide. They failed to fill in. Fullback Peachy, who is in absolute sensational form down under. This is a silly penalty that brought it all about. You can't afford to give it away. Basic football, 1 dummy runner. Looks for the second one. There it is. Out he comes through. They failed to fill the gap. The sliding defence was far too slow. Full credit to the fullback. Excellent try. Started with a hooker, Dean Treaster. 1 dummy runner. There's the second. You can see them hesitate. They failed to fill in. Breyer's got nowhere near. Fine try from a fine fullback.
David Peachy, the Aboriginal fullback from the New South Wales town of Dubbo. He made his Aussie Test debut against New Zealand in the Anzac Day Test. In fine form. John Lang, his team off to a great start here at Wilderspool. But the familiar pose that we have come to know and love over the last 6 weeks or so from Darryl van der Velde, the Warrington coach. So, Van der Velde's team, the Warrington Wolves, down by 4 points to 0. And it's going to beat Matt Rogers, son of, as I say, the Cronulla legend Steve Rogers. Matt Rogers in the Queensland Tri-Series team this year. Graduating through the ranks at Cronulla under the stewardship until recently of Stuart Raper, of course, now at Castleford. Conversion attempt, and not terribly conclusive, so the Sharks ahead just 4-0.
Look how the second dummy runner sucks in 2 defenders. There's Peachy coming on the wide angle. Takes the football, slides in, Breers fails to fill in. That is a fine try. Well worked. They would have spent many, many hours on the training paddock to create that. And they created it to perfection.
Well, Gary Chambers then overran the little halfback Lee Breers, who collected the kick-off. And so Breers had to take the tackle first up. This now is Chris Rudd. Strong defence here from Cronulla inside the Warrington red zone.
Well, I think from the games that we've already seen between the Australians and the British side is that you've got to make sure your discipline is good. The Australasian sides have been excellent, and I'm afraid that the British boys have been far too silly and given away far too many silly penalties. Lack of discipline.
Chambers, the prop forward with the kick downfield, and Peachy, the try scorer, picks up, but the referee has brought them back to the halfway line. I'm not sure what that was in aid of, but he must have seen something. Referee Russell Smith. It hit a Warrington man in... Well, it wasn't a Warrington man, it was a Cronulla man in front. I think he's misread that, Steve-O. He thought that that was... He called accidental offside, I think, against a Warrington player.
That's right.
But it hit the back of a Cronulla Shark.
Yeah, and seeing it was on the last, he thought that it was just a handover. Oh, that's a big hit, and that really did connect.
Chambers.
Oh, Chambers did not miss.
That was on Mitch Healy.
Healy is down. Oh, that was very, very high indeed.
And that is Stevens again, driving Cronulla into within 10 metres of the line. Healy wants it, and he puts up the high bomb. And this is a real test for Penny. And Penny, he was not grounded at Richardson.
He took it cleanly. He's gone for the screen as Russell Smith. It was a beautiful kick from the standoff Mitch Healy.
But the question is, Stilo, did he grab it, and did he ground it cleanly?
No, big question more than that is where are the Warrington players to help the full back? There's two Cronulla there and not one Warrington defender. He takes that all right. That looks a try time for me. I think he forced it down on the first effort when the body crumpled into the ground. But you've got to point the finger. You talk about teamwork.
Here's the decision.
Lee Penny.
The try's not given. He's held up over the line on his back. So Warrington restart with a tap on the 20-metre mark. Well, they've escaped. Sculthorpe with that run. Well, 9.5 minutes gone. One try disallowed on the nod of Martin Haig, the video referee tonight. Another try given by the referee on the field, Russell Smith. Tatupu now for Warrington. Not a bad start by Warrington, it must be said. Coming into this match as massive underdogs. Shelford, but showing a lot of spirit, Steve-O.
Well, there's a lot of pride in the opening time then, and really it's only two silly penalties that got him into those two situations, one where the try was given, the other one where it was disallowed. Nice kick from Breers.
Good kick. Wonder whether St Helens, Steve-O, are ruining the day. They allowed him to come here to Warrington, knowing the problems that Bobby Goulding's got with that hernia.
Without doubt. And what a great opportunity for the youngster there to gain the experience against some of these great players out there. To Weird Nickau, of course, Cronulla been around a while, but not better than E.T. and the Ettingshausen. Truly great players.
Here's Nickau. We know him, of course, from his days at Castleford. This now is the fullback Peachy, and what a great tackle that was by Chris Rudd. Here's Richardson again, met by a firm challenge from Finau, and the Warrington crowd getting behind their team. 3 tackles gone, good defence so far. Little Trista now, one of the most promising young hookers in the Australian game, in fact in the game worldwide in this Cronulla side.
Good defence from Warrington. You can see that the second markers are working as well.
Garaitis in there with the tackle, and the drifted ball over the top from Healy. It's turned Lee Penny around. He's taking a gamble, Penny. He was stood out of the field of play when he picked that ball up. He took a real gamble. He wanted it to run dead, and it wouldn't go.
Superb kick.
And he was dead in goal anyway before Ettingshausen arrived at him. He picked that ball up standing outside of the field of play.
That was good play by Lee Penny. He realised that when his feet was over, all he had to do was just touch the football before anyone came to him. And that would have meant that it was dead in goal. But what a great kick. To perfection there by the standoff Mitch Healy. Well, his kicking game is very, very strong.
That's good defence again. Graham was picked up and dumped to the ground there. This is Trista once more. Again, Tatupu going down low and another man coming in high. Healy to Nickau. Nickau looking for Richie Barnett, the runner out wide. And he loses the ball. Breers. Did he get a hand to it? No, the referee has not wiped the tackle count down, I don't think. This, meanwhile, is Danny Lee, the prop forward.
Once again, we see them going low. Garaitis it was on that occasion. That's what they need to do. One low, one high, smother the football. Strong line defence so far.
Strong run there from Stevens, but well matched by the defence, and the kick through by Green. Well, I wonder, are Cronulla just getting a little rattled?
Far too strong. The crowd have lifted. They all knew the power and the strength and the skills that this Cronulla Sharks team would bring tonight.
Well, we knew that Warrington had to lift the game, and that they can. Remember, they beat Wigan 35-24 on Easter Monday here against all the odds. And what a boost it would be if Warrington could come up here with a victory. What a surprise it would be as well.
Good defence there, though. That is tremendous defence. Leading the way, Mitch Healy out wide. You can see the Cronulla Sharks, how eager they are. They come out very quickly out wide, force you into the central area.
Warrington have reversed the blood bin. Paul Hume returns with 3 stitches in a cut just below his eye. That's a good kick from young Lee Breers. That's a tremendous kick. It takes Warrington to within 8 metres of the line, down the other end.
Evaded the first man to apply the pressure. Cool thinking there by the youngster Lee Breers. And a great kick over the top of the winger Matt Rogers. Well, he's building in confidence. You can see the determination on his face. They want to do so well tonight. So much criticism in the media over the past few weeks.
Scrum then packs down, and Cronulla inevitably come away with it. This is Rogers. He nearly lost that ball. In fact, he did lose the ball. That's a mistake on the first tackle by Cronulla Sharks. Head and feet now to Warrington.
And good defence there. Sculthorpe coming over the top. Oh, that really is good defence.
Did he lose it?
Yeah, lost it.
Control.
Lost full control of it. Good opportunity now. Well, many years ago, Warrington was so good at the angle run, the crisscross. They were famous for it. One running one way and then the other.
This is Willie Swan, operating with number 7 on his back, but playing at hooker this evening. The 8th hooker that Warrington have used this year. Sculthorpe pops the ball up to Hume. He went without the ball.
Well, they tried to drum of the defence there, and you could see they were not going to be conned by it. They left Sculthorpe alone, took the man carrying the football.
Paul Hume, you can see the stitches underneath the eye, and I've just been reminded that his brother, David Hume, was in the blood bin in Adelaide earlier today in the match against the Salford Reds, so that's a family double they've got up today. Here's Danny Lee now, the Cronulla prop forward.
Pretty strong defence by Warrington. It's interesting to note that early in the tackle count, when Cronulla have possession, you'll see that the fullback Lee Penny is in the one line of defence. They're taking the gamble in the early tackle count.
Interfering and messing around in the play of the ball, pushing and shoving by Warrington. It's a penalty to Cronulla.
Well, it took an eternity to get off the little half-back Paul Green. Well spotted by Russell Smith.
I must say though, Steve-O, I know that Warrington are all over them, but these play the balls that the Australians are employing, they are certainly nothing like we have come to know and love during Super League in '97.
The Australians will not change, so it's up to our referees to pick it. If the Aussies are going to get away with it, then good luck to them. But we, for some unknown reason, this season have changed the way that we play our football.
Well, we're doing it by the book, aren't we? And that's a great run from Richardson, and he gets over for the try. And penalties are costing Warrington dear. They conceded a penalty for the first try. They mess around at the play of the ball. The defence isn't set, and Richardson comes through for the second try.
Well, we said he was a big, strong boy, and he certainly is. Again, the use of the dummy runners, but this time he came short. They expected the ball to go out wide. He really is a talent, this fella. Was noted early on in the season, down under, that for his defence, but he's certainly got a bit of strength and pace. And on this occasion, they just could not put him down. He was far too big and far too strong. It's very rare you see Paul Hume bounce off a tackle so easily. But full credit to Richardson. But as Eddie mentioned, giving away these silly penalties are allowing Cronulla to get into a great position.
Richardson's try, and from that range, Matt Rogers does not miss. Scorer of 35 goals in '97 in the Australian Super League. And Richardson, the try scorer, has played 6 of the last 7 and a couple of tries against Perth 2 weeks ago. He's off the mark here, but Warrington will have to stiffen their defence with runs like that from men like Richardson. The Sharks now ahead by 10 points to 0. Rogers restarts, left-footed, right deep down the field. Underneath it is Chris Rudd. And here now Paul Hume again.
Look at that great defence. They're moving so quickly. Second row and Nick Graham there, so eager. Crowd thinking they're offside, but they're getting back to the referee, and as soon as they play the ball, they're off. They're finding it very difficult, Warrington, to get over the advantage line.
Warm night. Gary Chambers has stripped off the headgear. Paul Hume still has his on, though. Willie Swan, they go down the blind side with Tatupu, who's lost the ball. The ball went backwards, though, says the referee. Play on. And a booming kick downfield, but out on the full. Out on the full from Tony Tatupu.
Well, a nice effort under pressure there.
I beg his pardon, Celesi Finau. The words of the letters are big enough. Celesi Finau.
And it just went out on the full by a few inches. But you've got to wonder now about this defence from Cronulla. They are so strong. They're moving up quickly. We saw the same Auckland with exactly the same tactics against Saints on Friday.
Here's Healy. He gets the ball away. Richardson again. Roper fell off the tackle, and Richardson's got another. He just brushed Roper aside, and Roper grimaced as he went down. And Russell Richardson comes up with his second try in 3 minutes.
Sheer strength. That's all you can put this down to. You've got to make sure that you get the tackles gone. But the way that Cronulla are utilising these dummy runners is quite outstanding. They are confusing the Warrington defence. See the man coming back on the angle there, but Roper should have met his man. But there was no one there to help him. Once he'd gone off Roper, pushed him to one side, it was an open run to the line. There's the dummy runner. See how he went back on the inside. It pulled in two defenders, and once Roper had missed the tackle, it was always going to be try time.
Well, Richardson might have had a hat-trick, but he had one ruled out by the video ref. Darrell van der Velde, yet again, mumbling and chunnering and not very happy with life. But there's a man who probably is, John Lang. Now Matt Rogers. And that is good as well, the kick. 16-0, Cronulla lead. A spirited Warrington opening, but it's starting to fall apart.
There's the angle man coming back on the inside. Two defenders go with him. That leaves Roper on his own. Lovely ball out wide. Once he missed him, there was just no cover. Nothing that Lee Penny could do. Well, we put heaps of praise early on this guy, and he has come up with the goods. Two great tries. But I'm afraid you've got to point the finger at the defence, not putting him to ground.
Finau with the first drive. This now is Chris Rudd, tackled by Treaster. Bit of help from Graham. Swan at dummy half to Breers. He helps it on to Forster.
Roll away, let it play ball. Don't make it out.
Here's Chambers. Chambers taking it down the middle. And Sculthorpe with the kick downfield. Warrington's best tactic, really, to turn Cronulla round. The chase arrives. That's good chasing too. Nigel Vagana and Mark Forster.
Tremendous stuff there by Vagana. He's one player that can hold his head up high in this season for the Warrington outfit. Scored a lot of tries and really has given 100% effort throughout this season.
Here's Graham. That's a good tackle from Paul Sculthorpe. Treaster darts away from dummy half. Sculthorpe brings him to ground again. Two good tackles from the young Warrington loose forward. Nickow now.
Two drives again. Watch the half-back combination link. It's a kick, though, on this occasion.
The kick from Mitch Healy to the corner. This time it is too strong. Eckinghausen was steaming up looking for the ball that might have just stood up in the in-goal area.
You can see how disappointed there, Eddie, that Mitch Healy was, that he was far too strong. They really do set a high standard, the Australian players. They don't like it when things go wrong.
Warrington are not making any ground, are they, in their sets of 6. Certainly not on the first tackle. They were dropped where the ball was almost played. They are so quick in defence, this Cronulla side.
Well, you could see that out wide there, leading the way, the hooker, Dean Trista. And they're finding it very difficult, as we say, to get over the advantage area.
Here's Tatupu now. And again, great tackling. That time it came in from Jason Stevens. Warrington have missed 6 tackles, and Cronulla have yet to drop one off. Willie Swan goes in at dummy half. Now Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe, good run from Sculthorpe.
One of the Sharks are down in the back play. He caught stray boot, I feel. I can't see who it is at the moment. But he's just trotting back into the Cronulla side now.
That's a better tackle from Roper. That was on Richie Barnett. That tackle's on Chris McKenna.
The second row on Nick Graham it was that really Dick Karen, now he takes the ball away, Graham.
Trista goes in to dummy half. Finds Mitch Healy, and out wide it goes to Green. He finds Nick out. Nick out, all wrapped up by Sculthorpe.
That was pretty late though, coming through. Sculthorpe had made the tackle, and then a Warrington player came in exceptionally late. Lucky to get away with that one.
Penny traps the hack downfield, takes on Green, takes on Healy, gets away from them, gets the ball out to Shelford. Shelford out to Forster.
Good play there. And pushing the man over. You see, just came in a little bit later, Martin Lang, who came with a flop. Well, there was one previously, a few seconds before there.
Yeah, Martin Lang just on the field. Jason Stevens, Nathan. It's Nick Graham taken off, and Forrester and Lang coming on.
Well, they got a really bad knock with the second row, and Nick Graham. Not a bad move by the coach, John Lang. Give him a bit of a rest, try to run it out.
Now Hume, and he gets the ball away to Finau, who brushes Healy away and draws applause from the Warrington crowd for getting stuck in there. Swan and Shelford on the run around. That's Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe wrestled to the ground by Nickau. The crowd thought the tackle was high. The referee disagrees. Tatupu now for Warrington. Up the middle he goes. The tackle though completed. Martin Lang in there quickly. Ball comes out wide to Breers. This now is Shelford. Shelford puts boot to ball, but it's all come to nothing. David Peachey moved across easily to cut out the danger and sets off on a run. Look at this from Peachey. He's leaving Warrington players trailing. He gives it to Ettingshausen. Ettingshausen taking them on and eventually hauled to the ground by Paul Hume, who is no respecter of reputations, Paul Hume, I can tell you that.
Wonderful play by David Peachey.
Healy, ball back on the inside. Nick out picks up again. Helps it on there to Richie Barnett, and Sculthorpe, the man who gets the tackle in. Now here's Lang, the son of John Lang, the coach at Cronulla. This is his first season in the game in Australia. Danny Lee now, the prop forward. Sculthorpe after him with Hume again. They're in the red zone. That's danger for Warrington. Nick Howe. Good tackling by Roper on Richardson, but then Breers comes in and flops on the grounded player.
Well, a bit hardly done to there. You could see he was trying to get away, and he was in the act of actually helping in the tackle for mine.
I think if that would have been up the other end, you'd have been annoyed.
I reckon the little halfback had already committed his body into it. There was one a few minutes before that when you could have counted 2 seconds, and it was missed by the referee.
Lee gets the ball away. It's a try, is it? It is now. They've got the ball down. Forrester.
I reckon that was a forward pass, the first one. Second one was okay.
Tries given. Wade Forrester, the back row forward in his first year in first grade as well. Another one who's rolled off the production line at Cronulla. And he gets the next try for them. The Sharks' 4th of this match. His first in the World Club Championship, of course.
Well, I'll be interested to see whether this was forward, and I think you'll find it was. Just big prop forward Danny Lee. Neat little pass by Paul Green, but I think the man that passed before that, as Lee gets it to it, maybe that one too with Peachy. A good play though. Substitute Wade Forrester came on. There's a big prop forward, Danny Lee, pretty close to it. Referee Russell Smith was in a pretty good position.
Wade Forrester gets the try. 5 as a substitute so far. He made his debut in April. Now Matt Rogers, bang in front again, and it's 2 from 3 for Rogers. Ball just falls off the little mound of sand, and he tees it up with such precision, Matt Rogers. And this is an easy conversion attempt for him. Score will be improved by another 2, I fancy. And is. So 22 points to 0. The Sharks lead the Wolves.
Well, let's see from the high shot. Pretty close to one on that occasion. Lee gets the ball away, and then you'll see that the pass, that looks a little bit forward for mine and Peachy, but full credit to the full-back and good support play by Forrester. He'll be happy, John Lang.
John Lang, a former Queensland and Australian Test hooker, as Steve-O told you at the start of the programme tonight. The current Australian Test coach. 3 tests, of course, against Great Britain in November. Finau has gone off and Paul Barrow has come on. Only his second appearance from the bench this year. That's Forster. Coming up to the half-hour mark, Cronulla with the match well in control. It's a problem for Warrington, and indeed thus far it's been a problem for the European teams in this year's World Club Championship. But that's better from Tatupu, getting the Wolves to the halfway line. Swan the dummy half, Breers with the chip ahead.
Oh, tremendous play there by the fullback. Great positioning there, and good work by Richard Barnett, the winger. They really are combining as a team.
Tatupu has moved away from that challenge. I think he got a finger in the eye then.
Look at that, the combination there. The fullback running through, anticipation by the winger Barnett.
All class, no doubt about it. It's great to see these stars of the Australian game playing here on our soil. It's a little painful, I know, in terms of results so far, but don't forget, tomorrow Britain expects that Wigan will do the business against Canterbury. Watch it with us, 10:25 a.m, repeated at 4, and get along to Odsal tomorrow night for Bradford against Penrith, Monday at 7, the Bulls against the Panthers. There's some rumours apparently going round that it's all ticket. It is not an all ticket match. The Odsal gates will be open, and I'm sure that thousands of people will be rolling up to cheer on the Super League leaders against Steve-O's old club, the Penrith Panthers. That's great play again. Nick Howe, the ball was patted back from the kick out wide. Treister keeps the movement going, and again they do. This now is Ettinghausen. Chip over the top from Ettinghausen, and Penny was there, fortunately, to just tip the ball over the dead ball line. But that was sensational play from the Sharks.
Beautiful chip over, still got the skills, hasn't he, E.T.?
Scored one like that last week, Steve-O, in the Aussie Super League. Little chip over the top and sped through for it. Touched it down. On that occasion.
We try to get a little bit of information, remember, midweek in our programme. Well, the Super League as to whether he'd lost any speed. He just smiled and said he had plenty more young speedsters around him. Well, we've seen already that they've got plenty of class and plenty of speed out there on the Sharks side.
Chris McKenna, number 31, he had spells at Sheffield and London during his time. Now making a really big name for himself in Australia with the Cronulla Sharks, as is Nick Howe, the former Castleford hero. Also formerly with York, wasn't he? Treister from dummy half, looking to pinch a try. The Warrington defence just holds him up, inches short of the line. Nick Howe to Green, and Green back this way to Danny Lee. Lee stands, gets the ball away. The Warrington defence working overtime. That's the last tackle. And that was a chance for Barnett. Warrington wrap him up on their own try line. Tackle completed standing up.
Good work there by Lee Breers. Good work in the second marker position. Gave them no chance to move. Well, they really do need a score, Warrington, to try to lift their spirits, but they've got to change their tactics against this very solid defence. They've tried on a couple of occasions the little chip over the top, but the way that David Peachy, the Cronulla full-back, positions himself, it's very, very difficult.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning, Steve-O, at this point, having seen that stern Warrington defence, that even though the European clubs are at the moment on the wrong end of the scorelines, points difference could come into the equation at the end of this first round of matches for places in the quarter-final of the Visa World Club Championship.
Well, I think all coaches are aware of that, so it's important that the European sides keep going to the full 80 minutes.
Yes, even though they might not be recording wins as yet, they have to keep the scorelines respectable, otherwise they are most certainly out of the competition after the first phase of matches completes in August. So defence really is the key for a place in the quarterfinals for some of these clubs. This now is Nick out. Inside it goes to Peachy. They flick the ball around with such ease, don't they? That's Forrester again, and he then gets the play out wide, and this is Rogers who has clear run to the line. Rogers does tip the ball back inside, and they put that one down. Mitch Healy was under pressure from Mark Forster.
But beautiful hands, though, by the Cronulla Sharks, three-quarters. Rogers back on the inside. And it's a good job that Forster was on hand there just to get to Mitch Healy. Just couldn't control that. The standoff was that a fine game. But you have to marvel at the quick hands of this Cronulla Sharks side. We saw in the opening games in the Australian Super League how quick this three-quarter line is, and they give themselves so much pace and space.
Warrington's head and feed at this scrum. Cronulla, by the way, founded in 1952. They began in the Sydney second division competition, and they joined the Premiership in '67. They've been involved in just 2 grand finals, but they've never been Aussie Premiers. But they're a fine side, as they are displaying here at Wilderspool, although there's a little bit of frustration starting to creep into the Warrington sides.
And that is one reason. That is one reason why ET been around for 14 years now on the big-time rugby league scene, but has yet to pick up a winner's medal of any type. And he feels pretty confident that he's leading a side that can really give this competition a good crack.
Frears with another good kick. Touch finder out wide on the left-hand side.
Nice tactics. Turn them around. But he must be wondering what on earth he has to do to just prise open this very strong Cronulla Sharks defence.
Using the boot quite a bit already. 36 minutes gone. 5 his average for kicks in general play. 6 already so far.
Been a good contest as well in this first half between little Paul Green and Lee Breers. 2 little terriers out there.
Scrum twist round. Referee Russell Smith wants it to reform. It does. Cronulla now get it out. Good defence again. That was Chris Rudd doing the tackling. Treaster gets the ball away. Lang, that was a high shot on him, right into the throat from Sculthorpe, but the referee allows play to continue. Treaster again.
Very constructive work by Cronulla, using the big forwards and the run from the dummy half, yet again on the blind side. They'll work on this one side now.
And here goes Richardson again. He's after the hat-trick, and he's round Penny, and he's in easily. That's the hat-trick for Russell Richardson. Penny just didn't have the speed to cut him out wide. And referee Russell Smith points to the spot. Hat-trick for Russell Richardson.
2 runs on the blind side. They really did split open the defence. We saw there they were caught And I'm afraid that John Roper missed an easy tackle. Nothing the fullback can do about this. He's so strong, he's a big centre. Well, what a game so far for the centre, Russell Richardson. But full credit to the way that Cronulla Sharks opened up and then came on the blind side twice. 2 runs from the dummy half. The second markers failed to put them down. They created a chance, and it's hat-trick time. Beautiful balance. He knows he's got the strength. Just fends at the last moment. Momentum will take him over. That is a fine try from a fine player. He certainly has a great future.
First hat-trick of tries, rather, we've seen up here in Europe, but Canberra's Ken Nagus scored 6 tries, a record for the Canberra Raiders in their match against Halifax earlier today. So Richardson's hat-trick, and now Matt Rogers will try and improve matters. The Warrington crowd just a little quiet at this point. It's a good kick, it had a chance, but it just spun away in front of the posts. 26-0, Cronulla Sharks ahead.
Run from dummy half, the defenders hang back, they get over the advantage line. And once you set them up, you've got to make sure you knock them down. They failed to do it. That was clever play by the Sharks. They opened up the blind side so easy.
1 clean break per match normally, 3 already here, and 3 tries as a result. Well, if Warrington didn't know before they came into this match, they know it now. Cronulla are a fine, fine side. This now is Willie Swan, who got the pass away to Chambers. That ball came out, and the referee will give Warrington the penalty. The ball was stolen in the tackle, and it was more than 1-on-1.
Well, the referee, Russell Smith, deeming that there's no advantage, even though Forster had taken it another 7 metres. And as you can see, with the penalty kick, they've gone down another further 25 metres. Well, they're desperate for points, but there you see that strong defence that we've spoken
about. No respite for Warrington as Lee Breers gets the second 40 minutes underway. Peachy just tips the ball back inside to the tall figure of Chris McKenna. And you notice in the first tackle they make 17 metres ground, but there's a rare mistake.
Took his eyes off the football. And to be the knock-on. Booker Trista saying sorry to his charges.
Scrum wheeled, says the referee. Sean Garaitis is in the blood bin, and Tony Tatupu comes back. It actually was a reversal of the blood bin. And 2 other changes, Celesi Finau and Tony Thornley now coming on.
Well, to make matters worse for the Warrington side, the sun has come out, and you can see the long shadows there. So the high ball that Cronulla kicked towards the Warrington Wolves will be very difficult to catch.
Finau did well to pick that ball up off his bootlaces. 10 metres short of the line. Willie Swan with a little dart from dummy half. Finau again into the arms of Breers. Breers looks left and finds Shelford. Shelford pops it up and finds Tatupu. But again, stern defence, Mitch Healy. Now, this is Nigel Vagana, the leading try scorer in the European Super League, and he's been watched every inch of the way by this Cronulla defence. Forster at dummy half. Breers just drifts the kick through, looking for Paul Hume, but it's well picked up by Matt Rogers. And the danger is gone, and Nugent. Here goes Rogers on a run. Tremendous run from Rogers. He's got the legs on Lee Penny. We can tell that from here. Rogers is going for the corner, and Rogers is going to score. Matt Rogers with a tremendous run. The tackle not completed, 10 metres from his own line, and Rogers had the legs on the entire Warrington defence, and Lee Penny just couldn't get within an inch of him.
Well, we knew they had speed to burn, but Matt Rogers, the son of the great Steve Rogers, and I'm sure that his father would have been proud of this. Breers put the kick through, takes it from within his own in-goal area, This is at least an 80-metre go. They did not put him down. There was not a finger laid upon him. They held off, and he just went into overdrive. Just looked over, carried the ball in the wrong arm, but he knew that he had the speed. Now then, was he down? Oh no, I think Sculthorpe no, I don't class that as a tackle completed. Sculthorpe went over the top. You must have control and a hand on him, and I don't think he had a hand on him. May have brushed him with the elbow, but what a tremendous run by the winger, Matt Rogers.
Who has now trudged all the way back up the other end of the field, almost to the halfway line, to fire the conversion in. And he obviously didn't have quite enough puff for that, so the conversion is missed. But Cronulla ahead by 30 points to 0, and the crowd booing because they've watched on the big screen and they believe this tackle was completed. But I'm with you, Steve-O. There was not a hand on it.
No, Sculthorpe went over the top. He certainly brushed him, but missed him. And therefore, it's play on. All it needs is a hand. There wasn't one there. Well, things gone back to worse. Sculthorpe tried his best. And it's Lang, I think.
Treaster.
Well, the hooker was it that got him first.
Yes, Treaster a bit high tackle. Penalty to Warrington. Warrington's penalty, Steve-O, coming up the other end of the field, aren't they, at their own end?
Lack of discipline there by the hooker, Treaster, especially when you've got such a commanding lead like 30-0. There's a few words spoken to him, I'm sure, by his coach, John Lang.
Here's Gary Chambers now for Warrington. Willie Swan is the dummy half to Lee Breers. He helps it on to Celesi Finau.
Another great tackle there by the standoff Mitch Healy.
Shelford trying to spread it out wide. This is Penny taking on Nickau, making good ground. Lee Penny. Tatupu shoots into dummy half. Breers to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe going up the middle. Tackled though by Lang. And that was Willie Swan in at dummy half. Swan again. Dabs the ball forward. But that was so easy for Peachy. Just picked it up. And that's good chase and good forcing by Warrington.
He lost it as well. Peachy lost that football.
Thornley and Hume with all the enthusiasm in the world here.
That was great stuff. That'll lift their spirits. And then he lost the football in the end. Either way, Warrington will receive the ball from the kickoff. And it just skimped away there from the fullback, David Peachy. Had a second grab of it. Well, he's had a fine game. It was a good position there, though. Let's not take anything away from the adventurous play by Willie Swan. Normally the halfback playing hooker. He went on the blind side.
The drop out from underneath the posts finds touch. Terrific kick. So the scrum will go down with Warrington's head and feed.
Not a bad kick, was it?
Into wide open spaces. This scrum goes down, Breers feeds. The European zone of this competition got underway on Friday. A marvellous win for the Auckland Warriors over St Helens, the champions up here. And their coach, Frank Endicott, is in the crowd. And Alistair Mann spotted him.
Well, Frank, I suppose in many respects you can sit back and relax this evening, but what was the feeling in the camp after Friday's victory?
Oh, absolutely fantastic feeling. You know, we trained well for that game and we played well. And to beat St Helens by a couple of points would have been nice, but to thrash them like that was a bonus.
Clearly, one or two English sides are finding it difficult. How can we match you? What are we just missing, do you think?
Well, I think by looking at the English sides, you're about 2 metres slower than the Australian sides, and I think it's just a speed thing. Plenty of speed work needed, and a little bit more use of the football. I think they're running too much one-out stuff over here. What
can you tell English fans about Cronulla? They're impressive so far.
Well, they're an impressive side. You know, they're one of the top sides over there, and very good out wide, some great speed out wide, and that's where they're nailing them at the moment.
Yes, he's absolutely right, Frank Endicott. They're a great side. And Warrington are struggling here to match the Sharks, trailing by 30 points to 0, but Lee lost that ball. Kelly Shelford pointed to the touch judge, and the touch judge concurred.
See the ball carrying arm, once it made the impact to the ground, just lost it to the big prop forward, Danny Lee. He's worked hard.
First error of the match. Danny Lee, normally faultless in carting the ball up.
Interesting to listen to Frank Endicott in regards to saying that a lot of the English clubs play one-out football. Well, that's mainly due to the fact that the Australians' defence move up so quickly, they force you into doing nothing else.
And that's what Cronulla are doing here, but that's a forward pass by Willie Swan to Gary Chambers.
Well, he's not used to that position, usually a half-back, but half-backs should have enough common sense to know when a man has overrun the pass that it should not be released.
Two handling errors by Willie Swan, who tucks his head now into the scrum. Well, the expression doesn't change, but the right hand now being used to rest the head rather than the left. For Darrell van der Velde. Painful watching. 5 straight defeats.
Well, he worked hard there. Nick Howe really worked hard to make sure that the referee saw that. There he is, lashing out, saying that he can't move. Hume, the culprit, and only gets a penalty that to where the Nick Howe wanted. And from the set moves, I must say I've been really impressed with the way that the Sharks use their dummy runners, and I'm sure that they'll do them again. Maybe use a switch on the angle.
This is the great scream of forward from the Warrington supporters. McKenna hit that ball at pace, but Sculthorpe was up to it, along with Tony Thornley. And that's a drive-in by Martin Lang again.
This should be the link.
There's Nick Howe, Healy and Ettinghausen. Ball goes into the arms of Rogers. Rogers tips the ball back inside to Richie Barnett. Barnett just in the red zone. Green gets the ball away. Rogers just untidy, and Lee Breas did well.
Did well at keeping in the field of play as well. Realised there was no option going on the outside. Swung the boot, came up with a football. It was good work.
Shelford, long ball. Came off for him. He now tips it out wide to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe then to Thornley, back on the inside, and Rudd went without the ball. Cronulla have got it back. Every time Warrington get into an advantageous situation, they surrender possession. And Richardson was hunting his 4th try then. 10 minutes of this second half gone. Cronulla back in possession with Lang. He steps through the challenges. They're looking for more out wide, and they get it, courtesy of Richie Barnett. The New Zealand test winger gets the next Cronulla try. The man who played 2 of the 3 tests against New Zealand, for New Zealand against Great Britain last year, and Maurice Lindsay, the chief executive of the Rugby Football League, whose brainchild this World Club Championship was many, many years ago when he was in his Wigan days, watching anxiously on.
Again, they work the blind side. Substitute Martin Lang, far too strong. Sucks in the defence. Richard Barnett won't get an easier try than that this season. But again, we saw the strength and the speed of Richardson. Is a hard man to put down. But you can see that the Warrington defence are very slow to come back. And by the time they've got 5 metres back, they're still on the backward motion. The ball is being played quickly on the blind side. See how they wait. One man went. They all hung off. And that is a very simple try indeed. And Barnett knows it.
Richie Barnett then with the latest Cronulla try. A former Auckland full-back. He signed in 1994. Rogers now then with the conversion attempt. Slides another kick. The wrong outside of posts. 34 points to 0 though. Cronulla in total command.
Once you commit in defence, you go up quickly. You've got to make sure you nail the man. He doesn't. They're falling off the tackles so easy. Martin Lang provides for the winger.
And that kick-off out on the ball. Rogers shakes his head. That will be brought back to the halfway line. And a penalty to Warrington.
Bit of relief there. Hasn't done much wrong throughout this game. The winger, Matt Rogers, a few moments ago scored a sensational individual effort.
So Warrington get the opportunity now to build an attack courtesy of that penalty from just 22 metres out. If they get over the try line, we'll get the biggest crowd shout of the day from this crowd. That's Breers. He helps it on to Chambers. Again, Chambers all on his own, and he drives that ball in. But as Steve-O says, credit this quick Cronulla defence. The ball went straight through the legs of Thornley. Hume picks it up. 3 tackles gone, only 4 metres made. Shelford. Ball back on the inside to Sculthorpe.
Well spotted by Wade Forrester there. Wasn't going to be sucked by the inside pass.
Breers with a deft little kick, but it was Rogers who reacted first. Just plucked the ball out of the air then.
Well, I'm afraid that's about all they've got left as an attacking force from Warrington, is a chip over the top. It has been a long time since I can remember a Warrington player actually breach the defence or get halfway through a would-be tackle and offload.
McKenna takes the tackle. John Rebo has travelled here from Australia to watch this World Club Championship. And there's an international board meeting in Paris this week, at which John Rebo and Maurice Lindsay will be attending. Kick downfield, but Forster gets the possession back for Warrington. That board meeting, by the way, was held last week. I beg your pardon, I gave the impression it was forthcoming. It was held last week. Big issues discussed, no doubt. Vagana does well, gets the pass away, but Swan, he just left over his grounded colleague and was immediately tackled. They're so quick on defence. Tatupu almost a little half break then. Nearly stepped through a challenge. Here comes Sculthorpe once more. All out wide, it goes to Thornley.
Good work on the blind side. You can see that Cronulla were very slow on that occasion.
Shelford, the kick out wide, looking for Vagana. But again, it was too easy for Rogers, who got a little bit of a facial then for his pains from Lee Penny.
Tremendous lead, though, by the winger. There's never any doubt who was going to take that football.
Again, Peachy was not held. Rogers doing good work down the right-hand side for Cronulla. Oh, and they popped the ball up, and Tatupu couldn't take it in.
It was try time.
It was, definitely.
Well, the ball just popped up there. Well, it was a gift from Barnett. And Tatupu could see try time written all over that football, and then he dropped it. It has just not been the Wolves' day.
Shelford, Vagana, Penny.
On the way.
Nowhere for Penny to go. First tackle though, 10 metres short of the line. Good defence, tremendous defence from Mitch Healy. Hume, they're so quick, they shoot out of the line and cut down all the options, even before the options present themselves. Kick to the corner. Oh, it didn't bounce kindly for Forster.
Well, on that occasion, Matt Rogers was left in no man's land. It was a good option. We keep repeating the fact that that's about only that is left on the Warrington attacking force, is to use that chip kick. And then the only time that they caught perhaps Rogers a little bit out of position, it bounced behind Mark Forster.
Paul Green takes a stiff tackle, and for the first time they didn't make any progress then. In fact, they were pushed back a metre. looking to turn the screw still further. This is a run from Healy. Oh, and he turned the ball back inside to Lacey Finau. There must have been a call there, I'm sure. And Finau with a great run.
And not a bad fend-off either. He definitely must have called for the football. Well, that's lifted the crowd. Let's hope it's lifted the spirits of Warrington.
Tatupu disentangles himself from Lang and plays the ball. Briers, little short ball out the back door to Shelford. Held up by Peachy. Chances here out wide. Briers again. And they get over the line today. An almighty scramble. He's disallowed it for a forward pass. That's no try for Thornley. He's disallowed it for a forward pass and brought them back for the scrum.
Tremendous effort. Briers made the initial burst, got it out wide. And good work there. They really did get across. Russell Richardson, the centre.
He didn't ground it, did he?
And you'll see he puts his body on the line, gets a hand on the football and spins him over. That is tremendous strength from Russell Richardson. Well, what a game this big centre's having. Hat-trick in the first half denies Thornley the chance of Warrington's first try.
Well, it would have been chalked off anyway, Steve-O. He's brought them back for the forward pass. That's Russell Smith's view of it anyway. The scrum forms and Cronulla have the feed. They inevitably then have the possession. This is Mitch Healy. And here they come again. The Cronulla Sharks building now with Peachy. And Lang up the middle, taking on Chambers, Hume and Sculthorpe there to finish him off. Treister, the dummy half. McKenna. Nicow tries to release the football, and McKenna Peachy just couldn't take it in.
A few mistakes coming into the game now, but it's been a better effort from Warrington, especially in defence. Another 34-0. There's tackles per match 4, and during this game he's done 9, including that one that denied Thornley the try. What a tremendous effort from the big centre, Richard Barnett.
Coming up to an hour gone of this match, Cronulla on their way to a victory. No doubt about that. 24 hours hence, Britain expects Wigan to do the job down under in Canterbury tomorrow morning at 10:25. Repeated at 4 in the afternoon, and then get along to Odsal for Bradford Bulls against Penrith Panthers Monday at 7 on Sky Sports 1. That will be a massive match, and can the Bulls come up with the win?
Well, a knock on by Vagana, and the crowd don't like it. He just got fingertips to it, perhaps. Well, they're making half breaks there. You could see that he just couldn't pull it in, but did it go backwards? Not according to the referee, Russell Smith. Well,
he's hit his average, Nigel Vagana.
First of the match, but he hasn't had much opportunity. There's Vagana, who has been scoring tries regular.
Don't forget, it's about time that you got your votes rolling into us now for the man of the match. 2 tickets for 2 of you to Wembley. 0891 66 55 25. 2 winners on the show for the World Club Championship, and 2 tickets each for the first test between Great Britain and Australia at Wembley, November the 1st. Best seats in the house in the Olympic Gallery. Ettinghausen slips out of the tackles. Lovely ball back on the inside. That wasn't a great pass. Ball comes free. Lee picks it up, but
We'll
the referee...
play the first knock on. Well, a neat bit of skill there from Andy Ettinghausen. E.T., the little step, still got it. You can see that Danny Lee, even though he picked the ball up, the opportunity to continue. Russell Smith, there's the skill from E.T. Beautiful inside pass. As well, Richard Barnett there. It's been a good feature of this game, Eddie, is the fact that David Peachy, the full-back, and the way that the 2 wingers, Barnett and Rogers, combine.
Shelford gives the ball a bit of width to Sculthorpe, tackled by Paul Green. Rudd was almost not there at dummy half. And nearly again.
They're losing the plot, Warrington, I'm afraid.
This is Rudd once more, looking around for help, and nobody there.
To be fair, it has been a problem, hasn't it? They've brought out Chris Heighton now.
That's a lovely chip by Breers, but Shelford overran it. And here goes Tatupu. He flicks the ball back, but who was waiting for it? Andrew Ettingshausen. He was looking for Nigel Vagana, was Tony Tatupu. Well, he came up with E.T.
Did his best, didn't he? Full credit to the referee, Russell Smith. Went over the top, and then it kicked it into Tatupu, says try to get it back. E.T. popped up.
Here's Nick out.
Roll away, lads, let him play ball.
Warrington have entertained kangaroo touring teams here at Wilderspool many times in the past. The last occasion in '94 when they lost, I noticed, 24 points to 0. They're 34-0 down against the Cronulla Sharks now. I'm just trying to think back to the earlier results from the World Club Championship, and I don't think a side has been nilled yet. I'm sure Warrington don't want to have that on their conscience.
Well, there again, we see the high kick, and poor Lee Penny is left all on his own. It's about the third occasion that we've seen this. It's an enormous high kick. But you've got to get back as quick as you can, a lot quicker than that. If a man can get there and attack, then the two wingmen should be able to come back. They've got to anticipate that the kick's on.
Lee Penny was taken out before the ball was in his hands. He was in the air when the tackle came in. So that's why Warrington have got the ball back, but they're deep in their own half. And the penalty count level pegging really 6-5 in Warrington's favour. Nothing to choose there, but I'm afraid plenty to choose on the scoreboard. Lugana, ball back on the inside. Tatupu picks himself up. Chris Heighton, dummy half to Shelford. Shelford and Breers work the run around. Good long ball into the arms of Thornley. Thornley then dumps it into the chest of Roper.
Well, it's not just a coincidence that Warrington's best passages of play now are coming about because Chris Heighton's out there. He's controlling the dummy half situation at the play of the ball, and that's why they're getting good service. That's why they're trying to get this ball alive.
Breers goes into the dummy half roll ahead of Heighton. Nips it back then to Tatupu, who drills the ball into the ground, but straight into the arms of Rogers. Sloppy pass from Rogers to Peachy. Peachy goes without it.
Went backwards.
Good chase by Thornley. Well, he's 30 years old, Tony Thornley, but he's lost none of his enthusiasm for the game. But was that a knock-on, Steve-O?
No, it was going backwards. But we saw that kick from Tatupu. It was just desperation, really. Didn't apply any pressure.
Lovely run here. What a gap there was then for Trista to exploit.
He's had a great game. Little half-back. He's done his job well.
Green to Healy. They're running it. And this is Richardson. And Richardson's after 4. And Richardson's going to get the 4th try. Russell Richardson, his 4th of the Visa World Club Championship here at Wilderspool. He really has been a problem for Warrington, and they have no answer to that problem. He could have got 5 tries tonight, denied by the video ref. He settles for 4.
Again, we see the link. You can see how deep they stand. They're not shallow, and yet again the dummy runner coming back on the inside. See the dummy runner there on the left-hand side. Long ball out wide. See how he rolls the ball across. Sends Roper away. No way that Thornley can get anywhere near him. It's been a fine effort from this young big centre, Richardson really has been on fire. Hard work, then the link. A combined effort, working as a team. They just failed to fill in the gap. There was nothing they could do about that. That is sheer skill. But you must notice how they stand so deep. That was the key to that try.
Richardson with the 4th try for him. Rogers now with the conversion attempt. And that finds the mark. 14 points to 0, Cronulla lead.
Look how they stand so far back. that is giving yourself space. That is giving you the opportunity to drag the defence to you. And if they fail to fill in like they did then, the overlap is there. Fine try.
So Cronulla restart, and Warrington will be, I think, glad to hear the final siren with 12.5 minutes to go. But there's quality throughout this Cronulla side. 11 of their players have been involved in representative football over the past couple of months. In the Thai series and the Anzac Day Test, Australia against New Zealand. And Steve-O, this team is brimming not only with confidence, but with that sort of Super League quality. As Hume drops the ball.
He didn't just drop it, he had it crunched out of him. It was a big hit from Danny Lee. Boof! Oh, Paul Hume, he's gone through the wars in this match.
This now is Lee again. By the way, at the end of this match, don't go away, because we're on the air this evening half an hour longer than normal, and we have some highlights of matches played on the other side of the world earlier today to show you.
Good work by Forster there. Referee didn't call held. He had him moving all the time, and you see Rogers trying to keep the ball back on the inside. And it's been a tough day for the winger, Mark Forster. Plenty of experience, but I think he realises that he definitely has been run off his feet tonight.
Double change by Cronulla, Samet and Bell on. Those highlights, by the way, for you when we have finished this match here at Wilderspool. We'll show you North Queensland Cowboys against Leeds, highlights of that, Adelaide Salford, highlights of that, and Canberra Halifax, highlights of that match. Although not too many highlights if you're a Halifax Blue Sox supporter, I'm afraid. But when we are at Odsal for the match between the Bradford Bulls and the Penrith Panthers, we will wrap the whole weekend up of this World Super League Club Championship. Bradford-Penrith Monday at 7. Game kicks off at 7:45, by the way, at Odsal. I'm sure that many people will be making their way down to sample the special atmosphere that is Odsal on big match nights, and also see them carry the Union flag into battle against these Aussies.
Neat kick by Sculthorpe. They've kept a pretty keen eye on the youngster. He's tried his best, but he realises he's been up against a pretty strong 6 in the Cronulla pack. The defence has been absolutely outstanding for the Sharks.
Defence has been outstanding. Attack has been pretty special too. They've run in 8 tries. And I think they are looking for more. That's Jeff Bell, just on the field. Warrington now make a change. Gary Chambers withdrawn, and Sean Geraitis comes on.
Well, if my maths are any good, which they normally aren't, I think Cronulla have to score at least another 2 points to make them second on the table behind Canberra, who rattled up 70 earlier today.
You've had the slide rule out, have you, in the last 5 minutes?
Abacus.
You normally use your fingers. That's the telephone number to ring. I'm sure that one of these Cronulla Sharks has caught your eye. Vote now for your man of the match. Vote now for your man of the match. Lines are open now as Forster hacks the ball dead in goal. And I'm afraid we have an idiot on the field who will soon be carted off, I trust, by the stewards. Well, Mark Forster is watching on. I don't know where they get the stewards from, but there is no one who seems to be able to catch this particular gentleman. At last, he is gone. We would certainly not encourage that sort of behaviour on Sky Sports. Cheerio, and thank you very much. Right, let's get back to the proper business. Warrington. Steve-O's now back in his seat next to me.
Less said about that, the better. Let's get back to what we came along to see.
You're right.
Fine athletes playing the best game in the world, and it has been a tremendous effort by Cronulla.
And this is a good run from Jason Stevens to the 20-metre line. Back in the red zone, the Cronulla Sharks. Warrington have got the ball back, courtesy of Mark Forster.
Well, a few silly mistakes, a little bit slippy there. They wanted to use McKenna as the dummy runner, and he just put out the hand there. But again, even though they're leading by 40 points to nil, you can see that Cronulla defence is good. Good kick, though.
Great kick from Sculthorpe. Chances here. Forward, he gets a good bounce. Roper! He couldn't pick it up, and he hacks the ball away in disgust with himself. There was a chance there for a Warrington try, and he couldn't get hold of it.
Too many cooks spoiling the broth. Well, desperation. Peachy put his body on the line, got his foot to it eventually. Well, full credit really. It was a neat chip over the top that got him to that position. And it just gives you some indication of how strong this Sharks defence has been today, that the only option that has virtually been left to the Warrington Wolves side has been the kick.
McKenna loses it, says he has the ball stolen.
It was, but one-on-one. It was good work by Sculthorpe. Good refereeing as well by Russell Smith. There you see, pulled it out.
No way through for Vagana, and isn't that interesting? The handling errors, absolutely level pegging.
I bet the missed tackles didn't.
Heighten the dummy half. Breers to Shelford. Shelford out wide it goes again. That was Chris Rudd. That's the important statistic though. 24-4 the missed tackles as Tatupu feeds Vagana. Vagana try! At last for Warrington, Nigel Vagana, Europe's top try scorer, comes up with his first in the World Club Championship. They celebrate like it's won the championship itself. Probably a long time coming.
Probably the first time in the entire game that Warrington have been able to get the overlap out wide. Their link was good. Breers out wide. Shelford. Beautiful miss-out pass, and Vagana went back on the inside. That is a fine try. They stretched the Cronulla defence. Lovely play. Nothing that Rogers could do to stop Vagana. He came at full speed. The combination of Breers, missed the man out, did Shelford, and Vagana. Well, that's lifted the spirits. Tatupu did well. Offloaded. You saw he sucked in the standoff, Mitch Healy. Fine try. Consolation.
Indeed, well done Nigel Vagana, and here now is Lee Breers with this conversion attempt. And Breers adds the extras as well. 6 points to 40. And you know, Steve, when we turned up here, we thought it was going to be an absolute massacre.
Well, you can see the dummy runner was just run across the face of the dummy runner by Shelford. Tatupu out wide, you can see they just hesitate. Two men came to Tatupu. Vagana in there, nothing that Rogers could do about it. Well, at least that's lifted the spirits.
And we got Rule Britannia as well. Well, good on them.
Well,
they're having a go, that's the main thing.
Well, there was talk about the Sharks piling up 100 points plus today. It's still a heavy defeat at 40 points to 6. But at least they're not going to be nilled.
No, that's right.
It certainly looked it at one point.
Well, they didn't seem to be able to take the chances, did they?
And they seem to have lifted up a gear. Well, the crowd have been royally entertained. There has been some absolutely superb tries scored today.
Mitch Healy with a high kick again. They're all hurtling down towards Forster, but he takes it clean. Roper rather, he takes it cleanly, and off he goes, Roper. Good run to the 20-metre line.
Good take as well, and there was at least someone there to help him.
Sculthorpe now.
He had cover, did Roper, when he took that football.
It was Vagana, the try scorer. Ball comes back on the inside to Garaitis.
Well, a lot of these Warrington youngsters will have learned from this.
Foster has got space ahead of him. Can he take on Peachy? Peachy does well. Foster trying to struggle to his feet. Quickly they get on with it. Heighton gets the ball away. Here's another. Oh, Shelford gets over for the try, does he? The referee goes to the video ref. He wants to know whether he was held. Was it a double movement? Or is it a legal try?
It's
Shelford
illegal.
believes he scored.
I do as well. The would-be tackler releases him. And it's a full-back, it's the second row of Nick Graham, should I say. You can see there's no hands there. That's play on. But full credit to the referee, Russell Smith. He obviously couldn't see whether there was a hand on him. Well, that was a great break there by Mike Forster.
Here we
Forster
go.
really excited.
Ready for the biggest cheer of the night. Second try for Warrington. Shelford gets the 4-pointer. But it's amazing what the strings of Rule Britannia does to a Kiwi, but it worked.
Beautiful stuff. Breer's running the angle, hasn't had much chance to do that. And you can see that Graham got to him but released him. Obviously the post was in the way of the referee, Russell Smith. Shelford, a big smile. Well, that could provide a bit of a problem for the Sharks. The points difference, remember, Eddie mentioned it at half-time, is so important.
Breer's out the extras. That's 12 for Warrington. 12 points in a 4-minute flourish at the end. 40 points to 12 now.
This is the break to Tupu, good serve. Sucked in Rogers, very few occasions that they've done that. Did well, it was a great tackle by David Peachy. But from this, quick play the ball. Watch how Breer's run across the face of the defence, sucks them through. Great try.
What a shame that all this effort and endeavour has come so late for Warrington. Or are Cronulla just getting a little tired? Well, it doesn't matter to the crowd, and it doesn't matter to European Super League. Warrington have got over for a couple of very fine tries. And as you say, Steve-o, this could be terribly costly for the Sharks. But it could be a godsend for Warrington.
They certainly did not want to concede points late in the game.
Nick out. Up
The
the
way that this competition has been set out, so important, the points difference, both conceded and obtained.
Not a good kick from Green.
Well, it really would be a big blow to them if Warrington could bounce back with yet another try. He's not impressed, John Lang, and he's every right not to feel good about it. He'll have the feel-good factor about the win, but he knew he had that at half-time.
So here come Warrington for the last hurrah. Paul Hume tackled. Trying to get to his feet. He's a real competitor, Paul Hume. He will not take a backward step ever. Another break here from Thornley. Well, they're carving them to pieces now.
Trouble is, there was no one in support. Good refereeing as well. You could see that Cronulla's defence was on the back row.
Vagana gets away from two. Can't get away from the third, though.
Good tackle by Graham.
Inside the last half minute, Shelford. Little dink over the top, but straight into the arms of Rogers. Rogers. Breers does well, but Rogers does even better. He gets the pass away to Barnett. Barnett eventually is pulled to the ground. And there's a bit of a do-on.
Oh, well, this is a sad end to a fine match. Frustration creeping in. How much love lost there. Roper involved rather foolishly.
The referee has now blown time and has decided that the final siren maybe will just wash all that trouble away. Well, something for the Warrington supporters to savour late on with the try from Vagana, followed up quickly by the try from Shelford. But before that, it was all Cronulla, who ran in 8 tries, and Russell Richardson ran in 4. Just one short. club record 5 scored by Andrew Ettinghausen. And when you think that Richardson, he had a try disallowed on the nod of the video ref in the first half, he could easily have had 5 tries himself. As it is, Cronulla